The movie kicks off with a brutal scene. A mysterious man is on a rampage at a fast food restaurant. When one of the employees tries to escape, the man relentlessly chases them down. Unfortunately, that once eager employee meets a tragic end at the hands of this psycho. Sometime later, TV news reports that the serial murder cases in the city are spiking. It's not just fake Negan anymore. Another psycho, styled like Jason, has emerged, making the city even more terrifying. But oddly enough, instead of being scared, people are turning this phenomenon into a new trend. There are even various psycho-themed movies that are raking in cash at the box office. The story then shifts to a girl named Abbie, who's arriving at her family's video store. As soon as she gets there, the employee, Mike, tells her her father is waiting in the back room.
You wanted to see me?
Checked out the new Hot Grease Massacre.
And it turns out, Abbie's dad isn't just anybody. He's Roger, a legendary psycho widely known in the world of slicers, or slasher/killer in this context. While watching a video of another psycho's brutal acts, Roger hopes his daughter, Abbie, will inherit his talent, becoming the successor to their family, known as a lineage of cold, charismatic killers. Roger then hands Abbie a book containing a list of students from Ojon High School, telling her to make her debut as the next generation psycho.
Somebody outage.
That night, the family is having dinner together with something unique. Yep, in the middle of the table is their mother's skull, which they've apparently preserved for a long time as their companion during meals. Amid this absurd atmosphere, Abbie finally confides in her father. She tells him that she actually doesn't want to continue the family's psycho tradition, which she thinks is outdated and old-fashioned. However, her father, Roger, still tries to convince his daughter. For him, slicing isn't just a tradition, but also the family's main source of income. Without their acts, the psycho-themed video store they own wouldn't have new material to sell.
Their argument heats up until Roger finally invites Abbie to watch him in action live as a form of field training to become a professional psycho.
Mackenzie, anything long-term?
Seeing his daughter's hesitant face, Roger tries to reassure her.
This time we're not just killing anyone. We're going to eradicate evil, starting with the delinquent students at school.
You gotta trust the process, kid. Those are
Fun?
Rule 1.
Hell no. Soon after, they target a frisky couple named Mac and Siren who are getting cozy by the lake. Roger asks Abbie to observe his every move so she can learn.
Rule 2. Never.
Alright, how convenient.
Hello?
And Rule 3.
However, when Siren starts to get suspicious because her partner hasn't returned, the situation suddenly changes. After Roger successfully finishes his deed, he suddenly suffers a heart attack. Don't worry, Abbie is used to dealing with this kind of thing. Quickly, she takes her father to a sacred grave, a place believed to revive dead psychos.
And made it clear that my
The next day, a weak-looking Roger realizes his body isn't as strong as it used to be. He tells Abbie that he wants to retire from the slicing world. Showing the wounds on his body, he confesses his regeneration abilities have drastically declined. But since there are still many targets to eliminate, Roger eventually asks Abbie to continue the mission that night with Mike, the store employee who's still interning as a psycho. Night falls. After closing the store, Mike and Abbie prepare to take action against Desi and Brian, two teenagers known for doing naughty things since middle school.
Unfortunately, Mike, who's still a beginner, looks clumsy and panics when trying to break into the victim's house. Meanwhile, Desi, who just finished showering, is completely unaware of the danger right in front of her.
Dick!
But how unlucky. Mike dies ridiculously after getting something in his eye, like a trophy shard, before he even finishes his act. Seeing their plan fall apart, Abbie immediately cuts the victim's landline so they can't call for help.
Wait, I need to go back.
When Brian comes out, he's absolutely shocked by the gruesome sight, his girlfriend brutally murdered by the psycho, who turns out to be Abbie herself. Turns out, Abbie is no slouch. With incredible speed and composure, she successfully takes them out using moves so fast, it makes the audience think, is she a Hokage or a psycho? After her successful acts that night, Abbie doesn't stop there. She continues her hunt for the next target, a tomboy named Sam. Initially, Abbie seems confident, but Sam turns out to be agile and tough. As Sam tries to call for help, Abbie quickly uses her signature move and escapes like lightning, almost without a trace. The next morning, Abbie, still quite severely injured, struggles to get home. After a long struggle, she finally regains consciousness. In her awareness, she remembers the fierce fight against Gigi earlier, an experience that makes her more cautious and learn from her mistakes. Towards noon, Abbie is happy to receive a gift package from her father. It turns out to be a family heirloom axe from her ancestors. Her father, now retired, fully entrusts the management of the video store and the family legacy to Abbie. Upon arriving at the store, Abbie, who had previously failed to plan, now devises a new strategy to complete her slicing mission. This time, targeting Sam the tomboy, who is her next target. To make her mission easier, Abbie decides to enroll as a new student at Ojon High School so she can monitor her target more closely.
Oh, screw that. I wonder if I'll get shoved in the locker.
What the freak?
The next day, after formulating a detailed plan, Abbie enlists the help of Glenn, her father's trusted neighbor, to replace the late Mike in guarding the store. Glenn, a huge fan of Abbie's father, happily accepts the task. After officially becoming a new student, Abbie immediately follows Sam everywhere she goes. But when she gets to the locker room, Abbie is surprised. Sam suddenly vanishes.
What the fuck are you doing?
Sam, who is quick-witted and aware of being followed, confronts Abbie directly. She even forces Abbie to make amends for the previous misunderstanding and apologize. At that moment, Abbie panics and reveals that her father would be furious if he knew what happened. Feeling guilty, Sam tries to make it up with an extreme gimmick, spilling red ink on Abbie's thigh. They eventually have to be taken to Mrs. Becca, the teacher, so Abbie can get medical attention for the bleeding. After school matters are resolved, Sam invites Abbie to eat at O. Jones' Resto, reminding her to always be careful.
However, her father's whispers echoing in her mind make Abbie panic again. Her duty as the Psycho Legacy's successor must still be carried out.
Please. Help.
Even so, when trying to target Sam, Abbie feels hesitant and has difficulty executing her actions. Before continuing, Roger had given her a family heirloom knife he'd given her when she was a child.
Anyway, gotta run.
But once again, Abbie can't bring herself to eliminate this particular target. Finally, upon returning to the video store, Abbie decides to postpone her actions against Sam and shifts her target to a nerdy student named Patty as practice before facing tougher challenges.
The next day, as nerdy Patty practices her clarinet, Abbie begins to approach her potential victim for the next slicing mission. However, Abbie's plan is immediately disrupted when Sam and her circle suddenly appear. It turns out that even though Patty seems nerdy, she has a solid friend group, including Sam and a few others. As a result, Abbie again struggles to carry out her task, especially with the looming demands of her father constantly haunting her thoughts. Patty, who is friendly, says, "If you're close with Sam, then you're our friend too." Not only that, Patty introduces Abbie to her best friend, known for her TikTok syndrome, named Ezzy.
If we did, Izzy would surely be captain.
When they return to the store, Roger sees Abbie's closeness to her potential victims and immediately reprimands her. He reminds his daughter not to get too caught up in her feelings, as it will only make her slicing mission more difficult. Roger emphasizes that Sam's circle must be dealt with immediately. Whoever comes first doesn't matter. The most important thing is that the mission succeeds. Despite the difficulty, Abbie tries to obey her father's orders. At night, she decides to target Ezzy first. However, even though she's ready, Abbie still can't bring herself to use her father's heirloom axe, so she chooses another method, pushing Ezzy from the second floor to complete her mission. Upon arriving home, Roger immediately interrogates Abbie to confirm her actions were successful. He doubts whether Abbie is truly capable of completing her task against Sam's circle. Roger emphasizes that if Abbie fails, he won't hesitate to step in himself. The next day, Roger picks up Abbie and immediately takes her to the hospital. Abbie is utterly shocked to see that Ezzy is still alive, though in very critical condition. As Roger drops Abbie back at school, he stresses that Abbie must complete her task that very night.
The more you get to know them, the harder it'll be to do your job. We're barely staying afloat month to... He's not your friend.
You hungover? So you want to come over, listen to records? Oh.
At home, even though Abbie tries to confront her target, she still can't bring herself to finish the act. Seeing this, Roger, who had anticipated his daughter's reluctance, immediately intervenes. Soon after, they receive a call that Ezzy has died in the bathtub. Abbie panics immensely, convinced that her father acted alone again, furious at her daughter's failure. Long story short, Abbie realizes that Sam's circle is now her father's target.
Although Abbie still keeps her identity a secret, she tries to persuade Sam's friends to evacuate as far as possible. However, the next day, their car breaks down. When Sam finds a folding knife, Abbie immediately realizes her father has sabotaged them. The car is taken to a garage, and Sam says the repairs will take all day. They decide to rest in a forest cabin while waiting for the car to be fixed. Realizing this is a bad idea, Abbie immediately contacts Glenn to help create a gimmick.
This feels misguided.
Home sweet home.
Guys, look.
Glenn pretends to be a warlock, warning them not to approach the cabin. However, Sam and her friends are initially skeptical of Glenn's cheap gimmick. Some even tried to subdue him.
Where'd you come from, guy? Like a dirty-ass trunk?
I can't continue with
Upon arriving at the cabin, Patty panics when she finds a newspaper reporting previous slicing acts at that very spot. Curious Billy sees the fireplace and invites them to play with fire, and the night grows even more terrifying. Amid the panic, Abbie, presumably Abbie, begins to tell the story of the legendary psycho Roger Bladecut, her own father. About 60 years ago, Roger was just a kid attending an inter-school camp, but he was constantly bullied by his friends. On that fateful night, Roger fell from the barn loft and was pronounced dead. But shockingly, Roger came back to life and dedicated his life to slaughtering the teenagers who tormented him. When they enter the barn, Abbie panics when she sees her father's car parked there. Clearly, he's staking them out. Abbie immediately takes her friends to shelter inside the cabin, blocking all exits, and asks them to remain vigilant all night. Abbie tries to calm her friends by taking anti-sleep medicine, but a few moments later, they feel dizzy and disoriented.
No, Billy! Don't change it.
Patty is shocked to realize that the medicine they took wasn't ordinary medicine, but some kind of... Sam admits she found the medicine in Abbie's father's car, which was parked in the barn. The next day, Abbie and Patty, who regain consciousness, panic when they realize that Sam and Billy have disappeared.
Billy.
Their horror peaks when they find Billy's brutally murdered body. Abbie immediately panics because Patty runs off, carrying the axe. Their disguise is finally revealed.
Look what I found.
Abbie immediately moves to free her friends, and Glenn starts throwing out a list of the victims, adding to the night's tension. Patty finally realizes that Abbie is an imposter. Disappointed and enraged, she intends to kill Abbie.
Dead.
Unluckily for Abbie, Sam trying to stop Patty only causes Patty extreme stomach cramps, leaving them overwhelmed.
Don't.
Wait!
Seeing Abbie's father arrive, they immediately flee in the car.
Come on, Abbie, come on!
Unbeknownst to her, Abbie accidentally calls her father Dad just in time. The situation gets even crazier, and Abbie is forced to confront her own father to save Sam. But Sam can't believe it when she hears Abbie call the legendary psycho Dad. Amidst the chaos, with his last ounce of strength, Roger, Abbie's father, finally kills Sam. This moment makes Abbie truly repent from the world of slicing. She decides to close the slicing video store, her family's legacy. While cleaning up, they are surprised to receive a package of the latest slicing tapes, which tell the story of a group of young people dying in a barn, clearly the story of the previous events. Sam casually tosses the tape, even though you must be curious who filmed it and turned it into a movie. Turns out it was the director and cameraman. Quite hilarious. Soon after, Sam is seen going to the graveyard to check on something. But Abbie, unable to accept her friend's death, decides to revive Sam on the sacred ground. And just like that, the movie ends. This film is unique because of how legendary psychos Jason and Michael are. The director even incorporated Michael's features into Roger's face, plus Jason's jacket and slicing mask in this movie. That's all for the review and discussion of Bloody Axe Wound 2024. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss other interesting videos. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.